We have two very interesting conversations for you here today in this session in the Financial Freedom track presented by CT, which we are grateful for. What a lot of people don't really think about in today's world is that everybody wants dollars around the world. Dollars are, for now, the most important money, and at the end of the day, if you think about the hierarchy of money, dollars are at their very top. And most people around the world don't have access to a good, strong fiat currency. A lot of people in countries that have collapsing currencies want dollars. As you've heard, some of them also want Bitcoin, but as we all know, Bitcoin is a volatile asset. It goes up and down in dollar terms all the time. So some of them also just want dollars, or they just want dollars. Americans have the privilege of having dollars, so why shouldn't Lebanese or Nigerians or Argentines have the privilege of having dollars? Technology has made that possible. The banking system had like a control over who got dollars and who didn't get dollars. So your nationality would prevent you from doing that. Today, I've talked to people who use stablecoins in everywhere from Palestine to Ukraine to Argentina to China. And guess what? Now they get to use dollars too, which is kind of only fair. So it's kind of interesting that we have this phenomenon of like rising use of dollar assets around the world outside of the control of the US banking system. So to talk about that, and especially the incredible explosion of growth in that area in emerging markets, we have three fantastic speakers. We have Paolo, who's the CTO of Tether, which is the most widely used stablecoin in the world. We have Iri from Helicarrier in Nigeria. She has a lot of experience running an exchange where, in a country of more than 200 people, where the most dominant cryptocurrency is actually Tether, is a stablecoin. And my friend Alejandro Machado, who has done a lot of work at the intersection of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and humanitarianism over the last 5-6 years, and now works at BitRefill and has personally seen the power of stablecoins as someone who is originally from Venezuela. So it's my honor to have them join you, and welcome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex. So yeah, let's talk a bit about. Alex introduced the concept of stablecoins, which might seem like a daunting word, but it's actually something very simple. It's just dollars, digital dollars, that anyone can use. That's the way I would describe it. Yeah. So why would someone need stablecoins? Let's maybe start with you, Paolo. What have you seen that makes you think that a person could want to use, this technology in particular?
Sure. So stablecoins were born in 2014 with Tether. So Tether was the first stablecoin on the market. The main reason to create that cryptocurrency pegged to the dollar was that in 2014 we had the initial raise of Bitcoin and of course it was kind of growing in adoption, and we had more traders joining the crypto markets and so on. But still, in order to access Bitcoin, you would need always to pass through a bank account. And many times back in 2014, and until recently, I would say, there was really a high likelihood that your bank account would be closed if you were touching even remotely Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. So Tether was a way to offer an off-ramp and on-ramp solution and a really fast transaction system on the dollar. So dollar that would follow the same mechanics of Bitcoin, right? So it's a dollar, Tether is a dollar on a blockchain. So it started with that, and then eventually, with more the time was passing, it started growing extremely organically outside of the crypto industry. So we have seen actual entire countries starting to adopt Tether as one of their most popular payment systems. Why? Because in emerging markets, we are seeing, like in Turkey, in Argentina, their national currency is devaluating pretty quickly. In Turkey, in the last 12 to 18 months, the their national currency, the Turkish lira, devaluated against the dollar by 50%. So imagine you work all the time, you have your job, you work. At the end of the year, your buying power compared to foreign countries has been, instead of increasing or having more buying power, is actually get cut in half. So that's something that push people to find alternatives. And yes, there are the cryptocurrencies are quite volatile, right? We have seen recently, especially recently in the last weeks, how it can go south. So stablecoins are actually for a Turkish person, but also someone in Argentina, are actually an hedge against the inflation in their own country. They're actually an investment. That is quite crazy, right? So we are used in Europe, in the US, we are used to use, you have euro, we are used to have the dollar, so they are quite easy to handle currencies, right? We can transact, we have great banking. But there are many places in the world, like in Latin America, in South America, in Turkey, in Asia, in Africa, you have really hard time to get access to a bank account. There are 2 billion people in the world that don't have the same level of accesses to bank accounts that others have, right? So, and it's not because they are bad people, it's just that they are too poor to have a bank account. That is even, is sad and crazy even to be said. Because the reason is that opening a bank account, maintaining a bank account is extremely expensive. Because the banks have a core banking system, have an infrastructure that is most of the time outdated, is built on COBOL, that is a programming language of 30 years ago, or is built on infrastructures that are extremely bureaucratic, slow. They need a lot of rubber and bands to be kept alive because they didn't renew themselves over the last 30, 40 years. And because they didn't have to renew themselves, right? There was no Bitcoin, right? No, in 2008, something changed and Bitcoin came. And now there are and blockchain came. And now these are all these new projects that trying to eat a piece of the pie of the banking system. And stablecoins are one of those things. They can allow people to have a wallet on their phone and have their own small savings account in a digital form. And they can do small investments, they can do payments in a currency that is quite strong, right? The US dollar is the most protected currency in the world, is the most ubiquitous currency in the world. So that's why stable coins matter, right? So of course, stable coins like Tether are no Bitcoin. There is nothing like Bitcoin. I just want to make sure that this message is passing to you. But at the same time, they have a great purpose. They have a great utility for all the many people that are, they might not believe in cryptocurrencies, but they need a hard, strong currency because their day-to-day life needs that, right? They need to protect their investment, they need to send their children to universities and so on, and their national currency does not allow that.
Thank you. I'm gonna talk with you now a little bit, Arya. What, in your experience, have you seen this demand for holding the dollar, right, in a digital form? And have you seen it particularly from people who have no interest in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but just as a way to hold a currency that is stronger, actually the strongest currency in the world right now, which is the dollar?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'll just echo everything Paolo has already said, in that in Nigeria, we suffer all the same issues, devaluing currency. I mean, back in 1985, the Naira, which is our local currency, was actually stronger than the dollar. And today, $1 will get you maybe like almost 600 Naira. And most of that depreciation has just come over the past, let's say, like 5 to 10 years. So it's been really, really scary. So people don't want to leave their money in Naira because if it's just sitting there in the bank, every single day that passes, people are losing their money. So stablecoins have actually been a really good alternative for people to actually use, because if you wanted to even have access to dollars in Nigeria, let's say you want to keep your money in Nigeria, but you want it to be in dollars, so you would try to open a USD denominated account. But there are so many issues with that because, one, it's not accessible to everyone. But two, there's so many different restrictions on it. It's like, let's say you can only spend, if you have a dollar card, the restriction now is like you can probably spend $20 a month, which is like completely ridiculous. What are you going to do with that? And it's actually not even unheard of for the government to, wake up one day, or for you to wake up one day and find out that the government has just converted all your dollars into naira at whatever rate they choose. So keeping money or dollars in Nigeria is just not an option for most people. So most people will then try to say, okay, let's send my money abroad. Let me try and send it to a US bank account or something like that. And that is also incredibly difficult because, okay, how are you going to do that? First of all, there's obviously restrictions, like I already mentioned. But even if you wanted to use something like a TransferWise or a Western Union, they're pretty slow. The rates they give you are also going to be not that efficient, and they don't even always work. Like in some, I think TransferWise doesn't even really work with Nigeria anymore, so you don't really have any other options. And so people are now turning to stablecoins because this is a way for them to access dollars without having to go through the traditional system that doesn't really allow them to do that. So most people who, like you said, aren't even really that interested in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general, are very interested in stablecoins as a way to just, have their money outside of the Nigerian financial system. Yeah. So yeah, we see a lot of that.
Yeah, no, I get it. As a Venezuelan, it's very difficult to trust the institutions of my country to keep my money safe and to keep, even, my personal safety. The lack of institutions is a big problem, right? And so when I hold, like, if I'm lucky enough to hold a dollar account in the US, right? Most people don't have this privilege if they're from Venezuela or from Argentina or from Nigeria. I am going to need to trust the bank that is holding my money, right? So with stablecoins, how does this trust model work? Like, what do I need to trust when I am using a particular stablecoin? Because there's more than one. Even though they all, like 99% of the stablecoin volume in the world is tracking the US dollar. They're trying to be pegged to the US dollar because that's the currency with the most demand. But not all stablecoins are created equal, right? So can you tell me a bit about what you have observed at Helicarrier companies about this demand for different stablecoins, and why do you think there's demand for one or the other?
Yeah, so for us at Helicarrier, we operate an exchange called Bitcoins, so people can trade in different currencies. And the two stable coins that we support are Tether, USDT, and then USDC. And we chose those because they were the most popular. They're the ones that people ask us for. And what we've seen is Tether in particular has been extremely popular because it was the first to be on the Tron network, which had a lot lower fees than, the Ethereum network. So I think when people actually are choosing between, okay, which one they want to use, it's mostly about efficiency. It's mostly about what they're trying to achieve. So if people are saying, okay, they want to get dollars out of the country as quickly as possible, they're probably going to go with Tether.
And then now I want to raise the question to you, Paolo. How do we, if this is such a useful tool, to be able to to opt into the currency of your choice, no longer be bound by the Naira or the Argentinian peso or the Venezuelan bolivar, but actually if I want to keep my money in dollars or a dollar IOU, I can do that now. So how do we show people that stablecoins are trustworthy, and how do we kind of govern the system in a way that is better than what governments have done so far? In a way that, I can say, okay, I have this many dollars and I can trust that that's not going away.
I have only 30 minutes and 40 to answer that because it's going to be really long. But otherwise, so of course, this opens the question of what happened in the last 2 weeks, right? With also other stable coins like algorithmic stable coins that went down the toilet pretty quickly after the first attack, right? So I think that definitely the categorization of stablecoins is really important. You have algorithmic stablecoins, but actually you have then on the other side portfolio-backed stablecoins that have for the majority assets that track the US dollar, right? So if you need to pay back to people a dollar worth of money all the time, you need to have in your backing something that tracks the dollar. So one of the interesting things is that with Tether, actually, we proved that we were able to repay to whomever was withdrawing Tether from the stablecoin. We were able to process $7 billion in 48 hours of redemptions, right, without refusing the redemption. And over 7 days, pretty much was the total amount is between 10.5, $11 billion. Now, the question is, and we could have gone farther than that, right? We had all the liquidity to keep going, right? So I always said to whoever was asking me, try us, right? So we can repay. And I know that, really openly, I know that there was a lot of FUD, a lot of concerns in the past. But so Tether is actually the only single institution that publicly proved that it could process $7 billion in withdrawals in 2 days. Now the question is, which banking institution can do that, right? So if you go to your own country and ask to your bank, can you process, because $7 billion, pretty much 10% of Tether assets. Do you think that your bank can process 10% of withdrawals of the entirety of their assets in 2 days? I don't think so. So, and again, we could have gone farther than that. So that is the stability. So no other stablecoin, by the way, has been proven with this liquidity and with this speed and using the banking rails, right? So we, of course, this, I'm really pleased because, of course, there is, one thing is saying, well, we are backed and we have the money and we can do this and that. On the other thing is, suddenly, randomly, right, everything is crashing. There is a lot of concern. Terra, Luna, the entire ecosystem is losing billions, tens of billions of dollars, right? So it's been said that in just a few weeks, $1 trillion was wiped out from the crypto industry. And then, so every single customer is asking, okay, is all fine? And then you can prove it with facts. So we are not anymore at the stage where we have to say, okay, yeah, but we can do it. We proved that we could do it. We proved that the stablecoin, at least our stablecoin, is liquid, is safe, is fast, it does everything that we said it could do.
Okay. Any last comments? We only have a few seconds left.
I said I was going to be long.
A little bit more time.
I would just say that it's also the responsibility of people that run exchanges like us to make sure that we are listing, coins responsibly and doing our research before we actually offer it to just anyone. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well,
right on time.
Thank you very much.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. Thank you.